Well, hello my friends, this is Kevin, the Homemaker husband. Once again, as always, I want to thank you for choosing to spend a few moments with me. I know you're probably busy like everyone else, and the fact that you would take a few minutes to watch us is kind of humbling. I think first off, what I'll talk about is our poor departed Toopy. So it's been a fairly hard week for us. We know we did the right thing, but it still wasn't easy. We're still hearing her, the way she walks around. We're thinking that we see her out of the corner of our eye, all of those things that any of you that have lost pets, I'm sure you've experienced those same things. I still see Noah out of the corner of my eye on the seat of the truck next to me. So for those of you that watched last week, you know that just last Thursday, or like a week ago Thursday night, I had her to the vet and her blood pressure was good. We know from blood tests 2 months ago that her thyroid was good and all of that. But as I said, the vet had an honest conversation with me, and she had said that it basically was day to day. So anyway, without getting into any of the gory details, she took sick Saturday, and then Sunday she was really bad, and we felt awful. We couldn't console her. We couldn't comfort her. And we decided we couldn't watch her do that anymore. So Monday morning at 8 o'clock, I called the vet, and it was real bothersome because Monday she was a little bit more like herself, but she was still walking very slowly and making sounds that we hadn't really heard from her before. So we knew that she was still suffering, and we knew that another day like Sunday was probably in the near future, and we just couldn't do it to her. She looked to us like a cat that was really suffering, so we had to make that awful decision. And Michelle, as you know, did a community post, and so very many of you had many kind words, and we appreciate it. I have to stop. Anyway, so yes, thank you very much, and know that we do miss her. And of course, it opened the wound of our dog as well, so we had both those things. But anyway, I better get off that subject. Michelle ordered two things from M&M Meat Shop that I picked up on the way home from work. It saves me a trip back across the river, and there was a couple things she wanted, and they were on sale, so she picked them up. The first thing was another package of these boneless, skinless, seasoned chicken breasts that we like so much, and the second is these mild Italian sausage. Now they were both on sale for $14.99, so that was indeed a good price. So we got them. Now, I should also mention this. We're not the Lone Ranger. We're not the only one that finds ourselves in this situation. But as you know, grocery prices are skyrocketing, and Michelle said to me a couple of times this week in the course of our conversation, because she puts a lot of time into our food purchases, and she said, do you remember the days when we used to just go to the grocery store, and maybe you'd have a list and you'd get everything that was on your list, but then other stuff that you saw or you remembered, okay, we're low on this or whatever, or when we were stocking our pantry, you'd go and load up. You just went to the grocery store and picked up what you wanted and paid for it and come home. Well, those days are long gone. And Michelle and I are extremely fortunate. I won't get into too many details, but I know that there are families that are really, really feeling the pinch. There has to be, right? So anyway, yeah, we're quite blessed. And as a side note, Michelle was even talking to her father. He's a retired man, been retired for quite a few years, but he said to her just yesterday that they go to the grocery store and they have to map out what they buy, right? And shop carefully. So yeah, it's not just us, and it's not just our age group. I'm sure that younger families with a lot of kids that's still at home, you gotta feel bad for them. But anyway, yeah, I guess I am going to talk a little bit at the end of this video, my take on what's going on. I'm going to try to be quite calm and rational. It's bothersome to me, but at any rate, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I had mentioned that I was going to, or would like to do a live, and we did get quite a few questions. And I still am planning on doing a live, but as you might expect this week, we didn't quite feel like doing that. So I won't give you a definite date, but soon, very soon, okay? So if you have questions and you haven't asked them yet, shoot them in the comments below, and we will deal with them as soon as possible, or as soon as we do that live. So let's take a look at the grocery haul, and then we'll go from there. Stay tuned. Okay, once again, starting on my right and working to the left, I'm going to show you these first few items, just what you can see right here. They were from the No Frills. I started to say the superstore, but they're from No Frills. All right, so just pick up the items that we need or want that we can't get at Walmart, or the prices are better, or whatever. So these Cavendish fries, the crinkle cut ones, Michelle really likes them. They are very good, very good. They're still on sale for $2 a bag, so I picked up 3 of them. They'll be going in the deep freeze. I picked up a bag of these because I like them. That's why I got them. Anyway, this tartar sauce here, Michelle really likes that. It is good stuff. The thing that makes this special is the oil in it is not soybean, and she is allergic to soybeans, so this stuff does not have soybean in it, so that's what she eats. And 2 cans of Green Giant cut green beans. She said she is jonesing for some green beans, so we got 2 cans there. They're going in the pantry, and whenever she wants to eat them, we will. So yeah. Now I'm going to talk a little more later about this whole buying Canadian. I'm just going to share my opinion, and some of you will like it, some of you might not, but at any rate, a little later, so stay tuned for that. Now the rest of this stuff came from Walmart, okay? Michelle said she would like to have some beef. I was going to get medium, that's what she asked for, but they did not have any medium. And the extra lean was $8 a pound for one of these, $8. So I picked up 3 of these regular ground beef. Sandwich bags were almost out. This is not the way I usually buy them, but this was the best deal that was left. All of the Glad sandwich bags were sold out. All of the Great Value bags were sold out in the bigger packages. We usually buy it's 300 bags, and you can get them for about $6. That's what we usually buy. They were sold out. This is the next best deal, or it was the best deal that was still available. Yeah. All the Glad ones were untouched. The shelf was completely well stocked with them. People are obviously going for the cheaper option. I picked up 2 cans of these Clark's old-fashioned beans that we like so much. They're just going in on the store, so on the pantry shelf, because we do have 3 or 4 cans right now. I just took advantage. They were in stock, so got 2 of these non-breads, roasted garlic. Well, 1 package, 2 in the package we're going to make a bean dip and eat those with the bean dip. Got another bag of these cinnamon raisin bagels. We have thoroughly enjoyed them. I bought a bag last week and they're really, really good. So yeah, another loaf of baker's bread, sandwich bread, whatever you want to call it. Another package of the Wonder hamburger buns that I use to make my bologna sandwiches with, and burgers and whatever we're gonna have. Got 2 dozen large eggs again. I picked up a package of this. This is the one Michelle specifically asked for, so I got that. Sour cream, obviously, I guess it says there. Forgive me, it's been a long day. And a package of this Clubhouse meatloaf seasoning. Michelle makes a killer meatloaf, but she's just been wanting to try this, so I grabbed one. We're gonna give it a try. Also here, you can see this package of chicken. There's 14 pieces in there, and I guess I can show you the price. $14.79 for those. As I said, we're not necessarily, I'm not sure if these are halal or not. It doesn't really say that, but yeah, it does right there, halal. We don't care about that, but this was the only package of these like they had was this brand. So also, I just picked up one of these for my water. I've been doing really good. I haven't really been drinking very much of that. I haven't had any for a couple of days. So also, I got another one of these. They had it in stock this week, so I got one. Great value, lactose-free marble cheddar cheese. So pick that up. Michelle can tolerate that a bit anyway. A bottle of distilled water for my machine. And in this bag are 4 not real large sweet potatoes, or yams, I guess some people call them, but we call them sweet potatoes here, I guess. And 2 24 packs of water. So yeah, that's it for now anyway. There'll be more to this video later. As I said, I'm gonna share with you some of my thoughts, and we'll just leave it at that. Stay tuned. Okay, my friends, let's talk. Or actually, obviously, I'm gonna chatter, and I hope you will listen. Now, I'm going to try and temper my words very carefully. Because if you knew me, you would know that it's not my desire to offend anybody. I really don't. I'm not one that really likes to offend or argue and chew. But I will say that I have a hard time keeping my mouth shut when I see some things going on. Now, I want to say right off the bat that as a Christian, we are supposed to just trust the Lord and know that everything is in His control, and nothing happens but what He either causes it or allows it, right? So, for me, I've been up since 3:30 this morning. I woke up and I could not get back to sleep. I tossed and I turned and I prayed and I thought about things, and then realized that I need to repent of some of those things that I was thinking about. And at 5 o'clock, I just gave up and I got up. I was kind of hoping to sleep in a little bit this morning, but I did not. I got up at 5 and made my coffee and come out here and sat at the desk and just had a really nice quiet time. So, for those of you that are not Christians, just hear me out. Some of what I say might be interesting. Also, I'm going to kind of address, and I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible, but I'm going to kind of address our American friends as well as my Canadian neighbors and friends. And I mean, I consider you Americans my neighbors as well. Those of you that have watched for any length of time know that I drive truck, and that for 15, 16 years I did nothing but south of the Canadian border. I have been in 30 states. Texas, I was only in once, and it was like a trip in to Dallas, over to Weatherford, and back out the next morning, or the next, I guess I left at 10 or 10:30 after I got loaded. But at any rate, Dallas or Texas, I was only in one time. Oklahoma, a bunch of times. Close to Kansas, never made it in there. Anyway, you don't. But my point is, I've been to 30 states. I've met a lot of people. There was North Carolina, I went every week for years, and Georgia. And I met a lot of really, really, really nice people. Did I meet some not so nice people? Yep, I did, right? But I've met a lot of not so nice people here as well. So I just want to say, or I say all of that so that you will understand that I have quite a soft spot for the US of A. I really do. I'm going to try to keep it as vague as possible. Now, that being said, I understand that Donald Trump is saying some things that we wish he wouldn't say. I mean, if you hate Donald Trump, if you're an ever-Trumper, you're an ever-Trumper, and it doesn't matter what people say or show you, what you read, what you see, you're going to cast it all aside because your mind's made up. I get that. I just do. Yes. So Donald Trump is saying some things that our press, especially, I mean the American establishment press grabs onto it and makes as big a case out of it as they can. And our Canadian press is doing exactly the same. The main difference there is you have a lot more options to find out the news from not the mainstream media, the alphabet media. You have more opportunities to go elsewhere, and many of you have. Thank goodness. Anyway, if you were to listen to me when I get a little wound up talking politics or something, and I'll deal with that in just a second. When I get a little wound up, I say things that are better left in my head, right? They're true, but I shouldn't say them out loud. I should keep them to myself. Michelle tells me that sometimes. It's all right to think that, but keep it in your head. So yeah, I understand what happens. He gets frustrated, and he likes to tweak a little bit too. I'm guilty of that as well. So, I could literally talk for hours on this. As a Christian, some people might say to me, well, why are you so concerned about politics? I need to do a video for my other channel. My problem is there's so much stuff that I would like to address. I got to figure out in my head how to sort that out and make a cogent message. And I'm going to try to do that. But anyway, that's one of the things that I was up repenting about this morning. I need to just back away and let people do what they're going to do because God is in control. And some of you might not believe, but people are going to do what they're going to do because that's part of God's plan. Right? So yeah, what's more important for me, rather than talking about politics so much, I need to be sharing the gospel. I need to be walking the walk and talking the talk, because ultimately that's what this world needs, is Jesus, not a good conservative president or prime minister or premier or anything like that. So that being said, I'm going to actually read you a tiny little short Bible verse that I read nearly a couple of weeks ago. And of course I've read it many times before, but it jumped off the page for me this time. I'm going to read that verse. It's kind of geared towards my American friends, And then I'm going to pivot towards my Canadian friends and viewers for just a minute. So let me read that verse. Yeah, I'm not old. Now, as you know, my favorite version is the New American Standard, right? And that's what this is. So I'm going to read Proverbs chapter 21, verse 15. And it says, "The exercise of justice is joy for the righteous, but is terror to the workers of iniquity." Should I read it again? For those of you that maybe don't have a Bible right ready at hand, Proverbs chapter 21, verse 15 says, "The exercise of justice is joy for the righteous, but is terror to the workers of iniquity." I read that, and immediately the Department of Government Efficiency popped into my mind. And I'm sure you can relate. So, all right, I'm just going to kind of leave that at that for now. As I said, I could go on for hours, and you guys don't want to hear it. Nobody does. So anyway, okay, so now I'm going to pivot to Canada a little bit. Monday is March the 4th, and we are promised a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods going to the U.S. And it's a topic of conversation everywhere I go, and trust me, the fact that I haven't bit the end of my tongue off by now is only but by the grace of the Lord. Anyway, I do have to just let God do what he's going to do. He's not dependent on me to do anything but be obedient. So anyway, Monday, 25% tariff on all goods going into the United States. So our politicians are getting it all wrong. That sounds opinionated, doesn't it? Everybody has an opinion, and we're all entitled to them. Our government is getting it all wrong. Even Pierre Poilievre. But I understand totally why he's doing and saying the things he's doing, because if he doesn't right now, he doesn't stand a chance. I'm not even on Facebook. Michelle, I think she just very seldom checks it now, because you would not believe. Everybody's talking about how Justin Trudeau is doing such a good job, right? But I want to say, and it's my opinion, and I honestly don't think I'm wrong for a minute. Every problem that we have in this country, including the 25% tariff that's going to hit us on Monday, is because of liberalism. Justin Trudeau, Mark Carney, and his brand of psycho-liberalism, right? People are short-sighted. See, I'm getting a little too wound up. People are awfully short-sighted in this country, and Justin Trudeau is counting on it. He is milking this tariff issue for everything it's worth, counting on people to get wound up and forget about the economy in this country and what him and his liberal cronies and the NDP, Jagmeet, has done to this country, right? The tent cities that are all around Fredericton, St. John, and I laugh, there's one guy down in St. John has now built his homeless shelter. It's in the little median around a traffic loop, right? Coming off one road onto another. He's now got it built 2 stories. He has a stovepipe out of it, and he has a legitimate set of stairs going up to the 2nd floor. So our homeless are living in the lap of luxury. But those things came about before the tariff, right? Before Donald Trump was in office. Grocery prices went through the roof before Donald Trump won re-election, right? Gas prices are through the roof before Donald Trump. We got a great big kick in the pants with a carbon tax last April 1st, and there's another great big one coming this April 1st, right? All of this stuff has nothing to do with Donald Trump. So Canadians, if you're worrying about the 25% tariff, you're falling right into the trap that our liberal press and our liberal socialist government want you to fall into. Now, I'm not trying to make anybody feel less than, but I am imploring those of you that will hear me say these words to stop and think about what's going on. All of our issues have nothing to do with Donald Trump. The tariff that's coming on Monday is a fault of our government because they weren't doing what they were supposed to do. They weren't protecting the border, right? And we see it here on our streets. Crime is through the roof, right? Costs are up. And this is going to be the last thing I'll talk about in regards to this, and then we'll sign off. And if you're still listening, God bless you. Right now, so they're doing the big push. Everybody's on the bandwagon of buy Canadian, buy Canadian, buy Canadian. And I understand that. Michelle and I buy a lot of stuff that is from Canada. But you know what? When I go to the grocery store, the bottom line is our bottom line. We're going to buy the product that is the best quality and the best price. Sometimes those two things line up, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you have to pay a little bit more to get the quality that you want, right? We're okay with that. We're seeing prices on made in Canada goods, food, especially. I mean, that's all we've been buying so far. We bought a vehicle last summer, right? But those aren't the things you buy every week. We're seeing prices on stuff that is made in Canada is already up 10-12%, right? This Buy Canada thing there we started right away seeing the prices go up, and they will get higher. Of course, on the news last night, we saw that the Buy Canadian, and this is from Loblaws. That was the only company that they asked, apparently, was the Loblaws group. And they said they're seeing that their people are buying Canadian products is up 10%. They're 10% of the Canadian products, right? More than what was usual. They interviewed some people, and I know that when these people go to interview, they interview and then they only put the ones on that pump out their position, right? So they had interviewed a couple of elderly ladies, and they said, oh yeah, we're buying Canadian unless we can't get Canadian. And she showed a package of strawberries, and she said, I had two choices, grown in Mexico, grown in Florida. And she said, I bought the ones grown in Mexico, right? Then a little later in the story, it showed that same woman, and he asked her, now when it comes down to price, like if you have to pay more for the Canadian product than the American one, and those are your two choices, what will you do? And she said, well, I think, I'll probably buy the cheaper product, right? So that, like, buy Canadian it's virtue signaling. Maybe I shouldn't have said that out loud. That's all it is. Anyway, they had a couple of experts on there, and their conclusion was that this will be like so many other things. It's just going to be very short-lived, right? It's a bandwagon, and if you want to do it, I find no fault with that whatsoever. You do whatever you want. People have commented that some of our stuff is not a Canadian product. Don't care. If we were, we buy Canadian when it's a product we like and it's made in Canada, but if it's not, we're just going to buy it regardless, right? So anyway, I just ask my Canadian friends to remember, to understand, and if you're honest with yourself and you go, look, because we could talk for hours and hours and hours about what this Liberal government has done, but they have in 9 years devastated this country. And what another 4 or 5 years will look like, especially under Mark Carney, would just be, it'd be scary. Go ask them in England. He was the governor or whatever you call it of the Bank of England for a bunch of years, and he just devastated their economy. So there's no reason to believe he won't do a thing different here. So anyway, once again, I better shut up. If you've watched this far, know that I appreciate you. Appreciate all the prayers that went up for us this week as we mourned the loss of that cute little cat, right? Know that if you sent prayer requests my way, I definitely prayed for you and will continue. So yeah, questions that you'd like to ask, shoot them in the comments. We'll do a live as soon as possible. And if you'd like to see me do a Berean video, pray to that end and hopefully it'll work out. So once again, I better shut this off. We're getting awful long. This is Kevin, the Homemaker Husband, saying God bless. Bye for now.